Welcome to Artful Aging with Amy, where I ask caregivers and professionals the difficult questions that will give you guidance on your life's journey. Support is only one conversation away, and this is your first step. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. I'm Amy Friesen, and this is Artful Aging with Amy. Gardening has always been an interest to people of all backgrounds, but during COVID, more and more people turned to gardening as therapy and as a way to escape the constant negativity that came with COVID. Horticultural therapy uses plants, gardening activities, and other natural landscapes to boost physical and mental health. I first met today's guests as we were both recipients of the 2019 40 Under 40 Award, which is given out to recognize business achievements, professional expertise, and community involvement. And at that time, Alexis Ashworth was the CEO of Habitat for Humanity. Today, Alexis has founded a new business and is CEO of Root in Nature, which specializes in horticultural therapy. Root in Nature teaches participants how gardening can be beneficial to their health and their social connections, among many other positive effects. Welcome, Alexis. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Amy.
I'm so thrilled that you've been able to merge something that you love, into not only a business, but also a way to teach others how to benefit from nature. So congrats on launching this new business as well.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm one of those people who left their current job during the pandemic and pursued a personal passion. So there you go.
Well, I think it's fantastic because I know that you love gardening as well as, outdoors and whatnot. So I think it's a beautiful bridge from Habitat to here, but maybe you can share with our audience a little bit more about your story. I was surprised myself to hear that you had left Habitat for Humanity. So share your story with us.
Sure. So I was CEO of Habitat for 7.5 years, which is quite a long stretch. And during the pandemic, obviously things got very stressful being the CEO of a not-for-profit at that time. I also have 2 young children, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. So I found myself turning to plants and gardening more and more as a way to stay present and stay relaxed and to improve my own mental health. And I started working with an executive coach during that time and talked about kind of next steps and what I wanted to do with the next stage of my career, feeling like, I'd come to an end with Habitat. And all of the, times I felt most relaxed and most happy always came back to gardening and plants. And so I was exposed to horticultural therapy many years ago in the UK. And I looked into horticultural therapy in Ottawa and found that there was really not a lot happening here. It was happening at the Pearly Rideau Veterans Health Center, now Pearly Health. But there was a lot of opportunity to expand it to the wider community. So decided to leave my role and pursue that and try to bring nature-based health and healing to Ottawa.
I think that's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about your business, Root in Nature?
For sure. We're a social enterprise that brings horticultural therapy, nature-based programs, and employee wellness to the community. We work with horticultural therapy. Obviously, that's the basis of our business. We work with long-term care homes, with retirement residences, also with not-for-profits and the charity community as well. There's a lot of need there, especially a lot of need in mental health supports right now. And we also do some nature-based programs. We're starting to work with CHIO on autism spectrum disorder therapies. We started a 8-week program for preteens with ASD just last weekend. So that's exciting. And we also do some employee wellness because I know that employees are really struggling right now and workplaces are struggling with return to the office and the hybrid work model and all of the new things to think about. And employees are really expecting something different when they come back to the office. So we're helping employers bring nature into the office and help improve their employees' mental and physical health and productivity at the same time.
I think that, it's wonderful that although COVID had so many negative things, there are a lot of positives that came out of COVID. And one of those things, although had to go negative first, was that people are now starting to concentrate on their mental health more than ever before, I believe. And so, they've had this time at home, they've had this time to set up new routines, maybe get into like exercise routines or eating or whatever, different things. And then they found their own personal balance. And so now that everybody's returning to work and everybody's kind of getting back into the flow, you're right. I think the expectations are different now, and how are employers going to meet the new expectations to make sure that people's mental health is well taken care of as well. For what other areas do you find horticultural therapy has been helping people?
I think that, well, going back to the founding of horticultural therapy, it formalized after World War II. So it really helps veterans when they, come back and are suffering from PTSD, getting their hands dirty and, and gardening and focusing on something that's not the trauma that they've experienced is really powerful. We're working with a couple of veterans organizations in Ottawa, Veterans House and Women Warriors Healing Garden. So that I find the veteran community really benefits from horticultural therapy. Seniors, people with dementia, we're working with Symphony Senior Living in their memory care building, and people with dementia really benefit from that kind of seed to harvest program, looking after plants and taking part in horticultural therapy. People with, as I talked about, with autism, that's my exposure. My first exposure to horticultural therapy was people with developmental disabilities in the UK working in the garden. So yeah, it helps a wide spectrum of the population with stress and anxiety, which many of us have experienced or are currently experiencing.
Absolutely. I have to ask you a personal question. Do you have to have a green thumb to do this? Because I'm pretty sure my thumb is black.
Are those air plants behind you?
They're fake air plants, yes.
Fake.
Okay. Don't judge me. Everything back there is fake.
No, actually part of our presentation and for the workplace is there's some benefit in even fake plants. The real plants are better, but benefits in fake plants. No, absolutely not. And you don't need a garden plot either. Like gardening can be in a paper cup in your kitchen. Like it really does not have to be in an outdoor garden or backyard that you might have. It's accessible to everybody. And I think the fear of failure holds people back. Every year before I start my seedlings, I actually have that, like, do I know how to do this feeling? So yeah, the fear, but then you just jump in and some of your seedlings don't germinate and some do, and some die and some don't. And that's okay. It's all part of the process. And it's also kind of a life lesson that, not everything you start has to work out, and that's okay. And the ones that do work out, some of them are going to flourish and are going to, feed you nice tomatoes all summer. So yeah, don't be afraid if you have a black thumb, but work with a horticultural therapist, ideally, who, can help you along.
Yeah. And I think that you touched on something really pertinent for, things that I learned in my business life, and I try to teach others as well, is that you're right. Not everything is a success. And we learn through our failures, whether it's a small seed not germinating or whatever it is. Right. And so, not everything has to go perfectly. Not everything will. And so if you can learn on that small scale to kind of pivot or to not have your expectations in a certain way, I think it would set you up, especially if kids get involved too, right? And teach them how to do that. While we're talking about my fake plants and indoors, what can we do inside for horticultural therapy? You mentioned, in the seedlings or even in a cup. I'm thinking of the days that are rainy and dark. Today happens to be one of them that really get me, right? They get people, they're kind of depressing. So what can we do to add some life and some energy inside?
Yeah, well, we're just coming to the end of a very long winter, and every winter I set up a hydroponic system in my kitchen. That's not accessible to everybody. I mean, it's probably a $300 machine, but I feel like for people who suffer from seasonal affective disorders, having some kind of grow light and things growing throughout the winter is hugely beneficial. It's also set on a timer, so long before the actual sun is rising, your grow light in the kitchen is turning on at 6 a.m. and it gives you that sense of, waking up to something that's positive. So I think having, growing something throughout the winter is fantastic. Doing, propagating your indoor plants. There's all kinds of, indoor plants that spur, babies or ways that you can propagate. So undertake a little indoor plant project in the winter. That's a great way to kind of get your hands dirty and connect with nature and plants throughout the winter. In the, once March and April hit, you can start planting seedlings indoors. Again, it involves a grow light. They're pretty inexpensive these days. So, I've got one hanging above my ironing board. It's a great use for an ironing board when you're working from home and you don't really need to iron many clothes. You put some seedlings out on your ironing board, hang a grow light over, and you've got a lovely little system. So yeah, there's lots of ways that you can interact with plants inside. Even just caring for them, misting them. I should have misted this guy. It looks great after a good misting, but there's a lot of ways you can interact with indoor plants. I can give you some propagations, Amy. Some real plants.
I think that if you're right and fake plants work as well, I might have to load up, because although I, want to see everything flourish and I love everything flourishing, watering things and keeping things alive that are plants has never been my go-to. But luckily for me, my father-in-law is actually going to be moving in with us, and he has a green thumb. So I told him that's his job now.
Well, and kids, I know you have a 4-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Kids love watering. In fact, my biggest plant problem right now is my 3-year-old overwatering my plants. Like, she is obsessed.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. You've got a watering helper. You just have to keep her him on a schedule.
Yeah, her. Yeah, we went.
Her, yeah.
Yeah, we've got. We stopped at the dollar store the other day, and she found a watering can shaped like a pink elephant. And so she wanted that, and that's what she's been doing, except for she doesn't realize the plants that we have, water every single day, right? Because she gets a good watering. So I'm trying to teach her, but then also she's doing my watering, keeping things alive. So, it's a fine balance.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. You've got some help.
Yeah, she loves it. Can horticultural therapy be done virtually?
It can. I mean, ideally, you're getting your hands dirty, but there are a lot of people that can't go out or can't, access a garden or a green space. So we do run virtual horticultural therapy programming. We have a 5-part series called Mind, Body, and Soil. We're actually just doing it now with senior organic gardeners, a great group of seniors who do have green thumbs, but we also do it with the Ottawa West Community Support and other seniors groups. Rivera actually is taking part in that Mind, Body, and Soil group. So for people, in long-term care or places where they just can't get outside, virtual is better than nothing. And we can still do some interactive activities with people with just some basic supplies.
That's wonderful. And that's one of the other kind of benefits that came out of COVID, is especially in the retirement industry, where things are a little bit archaic and slow moving, it seems to be. And, getting these virtual touring and filming and activities was, not there, 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden had to be there. So not only did all the retirement homes catch up and they all have their own tablets and all that stuff, but the general public now has so much more access and has, gotten up to speed, can do it. And so I think that that's phenomenal that they're able to partake that way as well, because like you said, something is better than nothing, right? And that's kind of what our go-to on the show as well. Let's do a little something so that we're moving forward, right? Yeah. And not every time you can get your hands dirty, but then there also is an advantage, for instance, if you're at a retirement residence or a long-term care, is that the rec therapist there, while they're doing the virtual, could bring in the dirt and things like that, could they not?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, we're starting at a Rivera in Toronto today, just moving into that market. And the therapist is showing up with the soil and the seeds, and the rec therapist there has the seed trays and the grow lights ready to go. So it's a combination of us providing materials and them providing materials.
That's fantastic. Now, tell me a little bit more about the programs that you offer to businesses. I'm very interested in them. Can you give us a little bit more information on them and what happens with employees, well-being, what have you seen and what are they looking for really?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mentioned that, with people coming back to the office, they're expecting something different. So, and I know that there is a lot of research around plants in the office space and its effect on mental health and physical health and productivity. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so I partnered with a doctor named Dr. Owen Wiseman, and he has a real interest in nature and human health and the effect of nature on human health. we created a 1-hour presentation called Nature as a Workplace Ally. And so we're offering that to workplaces to basically educate people and provide, practical tips on how they can bring nature into the workplace to improve health and improve productivity. We also have an in-person event in nature. So people have been, working virtually and remotely for so long and are kind of disconnected that way. We have a 2 to 3 hour sort of half day experience in nature at the Just Food Community Farm where we partner, and we bring people together and just have some different and unique experiences both outside and inside, connecting people to nature and to each other in a new and unique way. So yeah, those are the two main things we offer.
That's fantastic. Before we go, can you let people know how to get a hold of you and where to find all your information?
Sure. If you want to reach out to me by email, I'm at alexis@rootednature.ca. Our website is rootednature.ca as well. And we are active on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. So you search Rooted Nature, you should find us there.
Terrific. Well, I'm looking forward to connecting with you on Instagram. I haven't done that yet because I'm expecting that you guys will have some pretty awesome pictures and hopefully some tips for people like myself.
I think so.
Oh dear. Well, thank you so much, Alexis, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And congratulations again on your new business. And I'm really looking forward to watching you grow. I did it.
I see what you did there. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate the opportunity. It's nice to speak with you.
Terrific. For more information on Alexis, you can head over to her website. The links are on artfulagingwithamy.com as well, and so is her bio. And there you have it for today. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and share with your networks and help people find our podcast so that it can open up some doors for other families in our area. Thank you so much for joining us on Artful Aging with Amy. From me to all of you, I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you.